Today I am going to discuss about the 10th lesson, that is mechanical properties of matter. Here we have three mechanical properties. The first one, elasticity, second one, viscosity, and third one is surface tension. Now I have already done the first two, elasticity and viscosity, so I am going to do surface tension today. Now we'll find out where we can find this surface tension in our day-to-day lives. Here, if you keep a water beaker or a water tank or a reservoir, you can see the surface of that is like a stretched membrane. That we can prove. If you keep a needle slowly without disturbing the surface on the beaker surface, on the surface of the water, it will float because of this surface tension. Now the needle is denser than water, but still it is floating because of this surface tension. And also you can see that a small insect can walk on this surface very carefully, slowly, without disturbing the surface. And also if you drop some mercury onto a surface, right, it will not flow. You can see that it will scatter everywhere like small beads, circular, because of this surface tension. And also, I think you all have a tap, little bit leaking. Now, there you can see a semicircular membrane hanging around the mouth of the tap, like a small semicircular membrane. And when the rate is increasing, it will fall like a circular drop. That is also due to surface tension. And in physics also we have surface tension. If you dip a capillary tube inside a beaker, water beaker or any other liquid, it will give a rise or a depression. Now these all are due to surface tension. Right? Now we want to find out the definition of the surface tension. Physics, here we use the definition. Now the surface is like this if you draw the horizontal surface, or sometimes it is inward outward or inward upward. Sometimes we can draw a small line on top of that, and we will calculate the force on that line and divide by that length. Then you will get the length, force per length, that will we define as the surface tension. Look here, the force of contraction at right angles. Now the surface is like this, horizontal, and you get only the tangential forces to the surface, right angle forces. Contraction at right angle to the imaginary line of the unit length. Unit length drawn on the surface of a liquid is called surface tension. Right? Then if the F is the force, it is proportional to length. So that to get rid of this proportionality limit, we introduce this T. F equals TL. This T is the surface tension of the liquid. T is constant for a liquid. Right? Now the units of this T is Newton per meter. Right? Now we can further explain this in using the molecular behavior of the liquid. Right? Now consider this beaker. Right? Here you have a liquid inside the beaker, and there is a molecule inside the liquid and three other molecules on the surface. A molecule is inside the beaker, inside the liquid, and this B, C, D are on the surface of the liquid. Now here you have forces like this and here like this. So for A, there is no net force, or no resultant force. But if you consider B and C and D, you can see the horizontal forces will cancel, but there is a net force downwards the surface. Like this way, each and every molecule will exert a force downwards so that it is under tension. That's why this surface is under contractive force and it is under tension. This force is called surface tension. Right? Now here, now look, Now see here, this A molecule is inside the liquid. So if you draw the imaginary energy level here, 0 level, this will be minus, and the potential energy is minus here. And but in B and C and D, it will be less minus than this. Again, due to this energy, this is energetically stabilized, and B, C, D are not energetically stabilized. So they want to get stabilized. Therefore, again, they are contracting and try to get the minimum surface area. Therefore, it will get the circular shape, so that the meniscus will be sometimes curve upwards, sometimes curve downwards in a capillary tube. Right? Now here, this contraction is due to this angle of contact. Right? Now see, this is the water beaker, this is the beaker wall, and this is liquid. So this theta is, now you are drawing a tangent to the meniscus of the water, and within this tangent and the wall, this angle is called theta. This is the angle of contact. Here you can see this meniscus is inward and this is outwards, right? Here you can see, if you draw a line like this angle is an acute angle, less than 90 degrees. So if the angle of contact is less than 90 degrees, we call the meniscus will be downwards. And if this is an obtuse angle, it is more than 90 degrees. Therefore, you can say the meniscus will be like this. So from this angle of contact, we can decide whether this is the meniscus is inward or outwards. And again we have to consider this angle theta, and this angle theta can be decided like this. Here you have liquid, here you have the solid wall. Here molecules you have a force called cohesive force. Here in the solid wall, glass wall, now you have solid forces that we call adhesive forces. Here cohesive forces, here adhesive forces. Normally the cohesive forces are greater than these adhesive forces. Okay, therefore you can see there are two types of forces, adhesive forces and cohesive forces. Now always these cohesive forces are little greater than these adhesive forces. Now consider this, right? Shape of the meniscus we can decide from this contact angle. Now see, this is the beaker wall, glass, this one, and this is the liquid. Now here a molecule like this, A is a molecule. Now this part is liquid and these two parts are solid and this is air. So you have here cohesive forces, Fc, right? 45 degrees to the surface. Here you have Fa, adhesive forces, adhesive force here 45 degrees to this surface downward, and this other one again adhesive force Fa, that is also 45 degrees upwards. Now I told you that Fc is always greater than Fa. Therefore you can subtract Fc minus Fa and get the resultant force this way. Now you have only two forces, this cohesive force and this adhesive force. Now here, if this Fa is greater than this part, the resultant will be like this. Okay? If this Fa and Fc minus Fa equals, then it will lie on this line, the boundary line. And here, Fa minus Fc greater than Fa means this line will be like this, the resultant. So that from this you can decide the shape of the meniscus. Okay. Now, the next thing is, in this surface, we have a free surface energy. I told you that inside the water, the molecule A, in earlier, right, it is negative, minus potential energy, but in the surface, you have little more than that means the grade A molecule is lesser energy, have less energy than this B, right? Now here we want to define this surface energy of free surface. Now if you have the area of the surface A and you have energy, total tension energy E, so you divide T by A, then you will get the unit surface energy, right? That unit surface energy is called the free surface energy. And here, if the temperature is constant, if this happening in the constant temperature, we can say this total surface tension is equal to the free surface energy, right? We can prove this like this way. Look here, this is a soap membrane, right? Rectangular soap membrane. Now here, the thing is, the speciality of a soap membrane is not like water, you have two surfaces. So when you are calculating the surface tension, we want to take 2 times of that line. Now here to here, line AB, length L. Now this AB line, you can move. If you move this way, the area will increase. And if you move it this way, the area will decrease. Now I have moved this way so that the A dash, B dash, now it will go like this and the area will increase little bit, right? The area increase will be X is the width and L is the length. So that is L into X, rectangle, L into X, the area is Lx, right? Now I told you there are 2 lines here, soap membrane, this side and that side. Due to that, we will multiply by that area by 2, right? So 2L into X. Look here. Now, look here. Now you have this area here, L into X into 2, right? But now we are considering surface tension. The line AB, can you remember line AB? That is the unit surface tension is T, and there are 2 lines I told you. Therefore, we multiply it by 2. So now you have 2T, and the length is L. Therefore, 2TL, right? Now the force is 2TL in this line AB. So the work done is always force into distance travel, right? Force is F and into distance travel is X. So the force is 2TL and into X, delta X. So this is the work done. Work done means energy. So the increase in energy is 2L delta X and the area increase is L delta X into 2. Now I told you that the free surface energy is energy per unit area. So that the total surface energy you divide by the area like this. Then you will get energy equals T at constant temperature. This is how you prove at constant temperature free surface energy equals surface tension. Okay. Now look at this. Here the meniscus is flat. Here outwards and here inwards. Now there is a pressure difference. Here there is a pressure difference. Now here this atmospheric pressure. Now here liquid pressure. Okay, but you have a pressure difference here, here and here. Now we'll see how to calculate this pressure difference, right? Pressure difference across the surface. Now pressure inside the curved surface is always greater than the pressure outside the surface. Smaller the radius, higher the pressure, right? Now look, if P1 equals PA, right? P1 equals PA, you will get this flat surface, okay? And if P1 P1 is greater than PA, you will get a convex surface. If P1 is smaller than PA, it will be a concave surface, right? Now, we can derive this equation. It can be shown that the excess pressure on the concave side of the surface of the radius of curvature R is given by P equals 2T divided by R. 2T divided by R, right? Now, look here. We are going to prove this equal. Pressure difference T equals 2T over R. Now, consider this water beaker, right? Here you have a bubble, air bubble inside this liquid. The radius of this bubble is simple R. Inside this bubble you have pressure P1. Outside here you have P0, right? Now, the forces are like this. The bubble inside gives a force like this, and bubble outside from the liquid you are getting a force like this, right? The surface tension of this liquid is T, right? Now, we are going to split this bubble into two. Now, this is half of the bubble. Consider this half. If you split this bubble into two, you will cancel all the vertical forces. Cancel, but only the horizontal surface remain like this. These are the surface tension forces, and these are pressure from the liquid, and this is pressure from the bubble inside, right? P1, P0, and this is tension forces. Now, consider this is a circle, right? Half of this bubble, that means this flat surface is a circle. So, the area of this circle is 5R square. So, the pressure exerted from P0 is 5R squared P0. Pressure exerted from the inside is P1 into 5R squared, right? Like this. The force equals pressure into perpendicular area. According to that, F0, right? F0 this way equals P0 times 5R squared. And F1, right? F1 here, outwards, you have P1 5R squared. Now you know these two forces, but you want to calculate the tension forces also. Look here now this. The circle, outer circumference is 2πr, right? Now this is a water bubble, right? Here outside water, inside air. Therefore we are considering only one circumference, 2πr, right? That is, the total surface tension is 2πr into 2, right? Because we know that in the definition, the surface tension is the unit length. For unit length it is T, for 2πr it is 2πr into T. Now you have three forces, F0 and F1. For the equilibrium of this bubble, you should equal. Equal is F1 equals F plus F0, right? Now we will subject F1 minus F0 equals F. So substitute these values, P0, here P1, P0 and 2πrt. Then you will get the excess pressure equals P1 minus P0 equals 2T over R, where R is the radius of this bubble. Okay? Now, look here. If this is a soap bubble, this will differ like this. If this is a soap bubble, F0 will be same, F1 will be same, but the tension force you have, now this is a soap bubble, so that we consider 2πr 2 times, because inside also soap, outside also soap, right? So we get 2πr in RT plus 2πrt. So altogether 4πrt. Now applying to this equation, you get the pressure difference of across a soap bubble is 4T over R, where R is the radius of this bubble, right? Now we'll do this problem. Now see, you have two bubbles here. P1, P1 is the pressure inside this small bubble. P2 is the pressure in this big bubble, and P0 outside. Right, the small one's radius is 3 cm, big one's radius is 4 cm. Right. So we are using this equation. This is soap bubbles, right? The two soap bubbles. So you need to take this equation 40 over R. So the pressure difference P1 minus P0 for this small bubble, P1 minus P0 equals 40 divided by R1. R1 is given, that is 3 into 10 to the power minus 2. It is given in centimeters, so that you have to convert it into meters, right? Now we subject P1. P1 is this much. Okay. For the big soap bubble, again P2 minus P0 equals 40 divided by R2, right? Now this R2 is given, that is 4 centimeters. So again you convert it into meters, and P2 equals 40 divided by 4 into 10 to the power minus 2 minus P0. Now for this common surface, you want to find the curvature of this common surface, right? So now we are applying this equation for these two, right? Across this two, right? Now P1 minus P2 equals this much. P1 minus P2 is this. P1 we are writing first because we know the smaller the bubble, the pressure is more. So we are writing P1 first and P2 second. P1 minus P2. So P1 is this much and P2 is this. Okay. Now P1 minus P2, again we can use the same equation. 40 over capital R, right? Capital R we have to find. That is the curvature of the common surface, right? Now capital R. Now we can cancel this 40 and 40. So you will get the capital R. Simplifying this, you will get 12 centimeters. Okay, clear? Right. Now, what is this capillary rise? Look here. If you dip a capillary tube inside a liquid, you will get a capillary rise or capillary depression. Capillary rise means this, right? Capillary rise means you will get the angle of contact acute and the liquid level rises in the tube, right? Here, see this. We want to get an expression for the capillary rise. We want to do the calculations for the capillary rise. Look here, now this is the capillary tube. Now this is the beaker. This is liquid, right? Now this liquid surface, right? This is the liquid surface. Here we consider A outside of the capillary tube. This is the meniscus, right? Meniscus of the liquid. A outside the liquid. B is inside the liquid. And rho is the density of the liquid. The rise is simple h, right? The angle of contact is theta. The radius of this capillary tube is capital R. And the radius of this bubble is simple R. Now see, the atmospheric pressure is 5. Now here on the surface, atmospheric pressure, and here C, you have this total pressure, B plus H rho G. But you know, in the same liquid, same levels, pressures are equal. Therefore, C equals B, right? Now consider same equation. We use PA minus PB here. PA minus PB equals 2T over R, right? Now, PA equals 5. That is atmospheric pressure. So, PB, we subject PB equals 5 minus 2T over R. But you can write PC equals PC, this whole pressure plus pressure B. PB plus H rho G. Right? From this equation, you can substitute 2T over R plus H rho G instead of B. Now here, we, pressure B equals pressure C. That is also atmospheric pressure. From this equation, we derive H rho G equals 2T over simple R. Now what is the simple R? Simple R is the radius of this bubble, right? But we need the radius of the capillary tube. So we want to find it. Look here, this is theta. So this is 90 minus theta, and again this is theta. So cos theta equals this side divided by the opposite side, right? Adjacent side divided by the opposite side. That is, adjacent side is R, and the sorry, adjacent side divided by this the long part, right? Wrong side. That is R divided by simple R. So you can get simple R equals, right? Simple R equals capital R divided by cos theta. So this part we are going to substitute here. Look here, H rho G equals 2TR cos theta. This is the expression for the capillary rise. Now from this you can find H. H equals 2TR rho G cos theta, right? This is the expression for the capillary rise. You should know how to derive this equation, right? There's another method that you can derive the same equation, right? It is simple, right? Not very complicated like earlier one. Expression for the capillary rise. Again, consider the capillary tube, right? Now the rise is H, theta angle, right? Now here you have the surface tensional forces, okay? Now we are doing only this. We consider the weight of this liquid column, that is H into phi r squared into density of the liquid into gravity, right? Phi r squared H rho G, and the tensional forces all around the this circumference, that is 2 phi r into T cos theta, only the upward forces. We are balancing only the vertical forces. We are not taking this horizontal forces into consideration, because we are applying the equation of the vertical for this water column, right? So H rho G equals 2TR over cos theta. You get this equation very simply, not like the other one, right? Both ways you have to derive the equation. Now look, we'll do this small problem, right? When a capillary tube of radius 0.2 millimeter is dipped in a beaker of water, it showed a capillary rise of 1 centimeter, right? Now, if the angle of contact is 0, right? Assume that the angle of contact is 0. Find the surface tension of the water. Density of water is 1000 kilograms per meter square, that you know, but they have given it, right? For the equilibrium, you can use that second equation, H rho G equals 2 cos theta over R, right? So you can subject H, 2T cos theta over R rho G, right? So H is given. H is 7 into, yes 7, right? 7 into 10 to the power minus 2, because it is centimeters. We multiply by 7 10 to the power minus 2 equals 2 into R, right? 2 into T cos theta R rho G. 2 into T cos theta cos 0, right? Because the contact angle is 0. Now cos 0 is 1, okay? So T here, and the radius is 2 into 10 to the power minus 3. It is given in millimeters, and density rho is 1000 and G gravity is 10. So you simplify this and get T is 7 into 10 to the power minus 2 meter per meter, right? Now, capillary depression, right? Capillary depression is this. Now we know what is capillary rise. Now this is capillary depression, right? So we'll have to find an expression for the capillary depression also. Now look here, this is the surface of the water or a liquid. Now this is the capillary tube. Now it has depressed like this. This is the meniscus, right? This is theta, obtuse angle. R is the radius of this bubble, right? Capital R is the radius of the capillary tube, right? H is the depression. Now same thing, same theory. PB minus PA, right, equals to DOR. So substitute PB minus 5, PA is atmospheric pressure, and 2TOR. So PB equals 5 plus 2T over R. Now PC here, H rho G plus 5, atmospheric pressure plus H rho G. So PB equals PC, same liquid, same level, pressures are equal, right? So 5 plus 2 DOR equals 5 plus H rho G. From this equation 5 cancels and you get 2 DOR equals H rho G. From this you can subject H and get the depression of this liquid, right? Now, there are 3 methods to find the surface tension in our laboratories, right? For your A-level practical guide, you have all these 3 practicals, right? 3 methods. Now, first method, determination of the surface tension of water using a microscope slide. You know what is a microscope slide, right? This is the microscope slide. Now it is the width or the thickness is B and the length is L, right? We need a microscope slide, a dish, and a 4-beam balance, right? 4-beam balance, vernier caliper, and a few pieces of wire, right? Dilute sodium hydroxide solution and dilute nitric acid solution and a micrometer screw gauge, right? Now here we will hang the microscopic slide like this, right? Then you hang it in the 4-beam balance and balance the 4-beam balance. Then reading should be noted. After that, you keep this dish here and slowly lift it until it just touches this bottom of this microscopic slide, right? Now, this balance will disturb and you have to add a little more weight to get this balance again, and this is the additional weight is equal to the surface tension of this liquid, right? Now this surface tension, how to calculate this surface tension? Now this unit length surface tension is T, but you have the rectangular one. This is B plus A plus B plus A. That means 2 times A plus B, right? Perimeter of this line into T equals that extra load. From this you can find the surface tension of the T of the liquid, right? Now you want to measure the thickness of the B, thickness of the microscopic slide, and you want to get the length of it also. So you have to use a vernier caliper to measure the length to be more accurate, and you have to use a micrometer screw gauge to measure the thickness, right? You take few measurements and get the average to be more precise, right? Now, before starting this, you want to wash this microscopic slide with this base first, and then this acid, and from water also, right? Then only you will get the exact surface tension of this liquid. Clear? Right. Now, note, this is in your practical guide. You better study this because they are asking questions in the structured essay from this, right? Since the surface tension of water varies with temperature, it is more suitable to note down the temperature during the experiment and decide according to the temperature, because I told you that the surface tension differ with the temperature, right? Now the second point, it has been assumed that the water wets glasses and hence the angle of contact is 0. We are in this equation, we are taking the angle of contact as 0, right? And care should be taken to use situations that the slide just touches the water surface. If not, an upthrust would exist and has to be accounted for. Now, if you dip it more, there will be upthrust also. So that in addition to the surface tension, you will get a upthrust force also. Therefore, you have to just touch the liquid and get the extra load measurement, right? For the final washing of the slide, tap water, and you have to use tap water, not distilled water, right? Because the substances such as grease is used in the production of the distilled water, it could contain only dirt. Right? Clear? Now look here. This is the second method, right? This is of course easy, but you have to use the traveling microscope. Here, determination of the surface tension of the water by capillary rise method. Now you know what is capillary rise, and you know the equation also, H/G equals 2T cos theta over R. But here we consider cos theta as 0, and you use this equation 2T over R equals H/G. Right? You need a capillary tube about 15 centimeter length, a traveling microscope, a beaker, and an adjustable bench like this, and a pin or a pointer here, right? Right angle, pure water, dilute sodium hydroxide and dilute nitric acid solutions in small amounts, and a stand, right? Now, and a rubber loop also to fix this hook, right? Now, first, you have to clean this capillary tube with a base and with acid and from water, right? After that, you need to get the diameter of this capillary tube. You have to use the traveling microscope. Traveling microscope, of course, you have to focus it here vertically, and here get the difference. That will be the diameter of this, vertical diameter of this capillary tube. Again focus here, then this is the horizontal diameter of the capillary tube. Add this two and get the average to be more precise, right? Now you know R, right? Cos theta is 0. So you can find, now you can measure H also from the traveling microscope. Focus here, after the capillary rise ended, you focus here to the meniscus and get this reading. Take out the beaker, right? The hook should touch the surface of the liquid, right? Then you take out the beaker, measure this, focus to this hook and measure this point, right? Now this two gap will be H. This reading minus this reading will get H. Rho is known and G is known. From this equation, you can find the surface tension of this liquid, right? Then, now, these are the readings that you have to get. D divided by 2, you will get the radius. See the note. The capillary rise can be obtained at a few more places along the tube by changing the amount of tube is immersed in the liquid and calculate the surface tension, right? You can do it 2-3 times, dipping it different levels, and get the tension 4-5 times. By taking the mean of all this, you have to take the average, and this will be very accurate, right? Values of surface tension, any error due to non-uniformity of the capillary tube can be minimized, right? This will be very important because they are asking how to reduce the errors, right? So you have to know this also. Okay. Now, this is the third method. Third method is using the Jaeger apparatus, right? This part is called the Jaeger apparatus, right? It is having a manometer also. And you need Jaeger's apparatus, a beaker, liquid of which the surface tension is required to find, and the quantity of kerosene oil to put into the manometer, traveling microscope, a block of wood, right, or an adjustable bench, and a tool stand. And also you need a hook also and a rubber band to fix it here, right? Now there should be a tap also to fix here, and you fix the apparatus like this, right? Then you slowly open the tap, slowly open, right? Let's slowly open the tap. Then the pressure increase here. When the water fills, the air pressure will increase, and it will slowly going through this, and you will get a manometer difference here, and also you will get a water bubble, air bubble here, right? Air bubble formed here due to this pressure. Now, as soon as this air bubble is forming, you reduce the incoming water, and you just measure this A with the traveling microscope, A, right? Level of this meniscus, and then you have to take the measurement of this hook and the the bottom part of this air bubble, right? That is H1. And again you want to get the measurement of this meniscus as well, right? So you need this gap and this gap, right? So now pressure inside the bubble P1, that is atmospheric pressure plus inside, right? Pressure inside the bubble, right? This one, right? Inside the bubble means manometer pressure, right? So H2 rho G plus atmospheric pressure, and pressure outside the bubble is here outside, right? Liquid pressure H rho G, right? H1 rho 1 G, liquid is rho 1, right? H1 here G plus atmospheric pressure. So pressure difference is P1 minus P2 equals 2T over our common equation. So apply these values here, H2 rho 2 minus H1 rho 1, right, G. Then you can find the surface tension of this liquid, right? And now these are the measurements that readings that you have to take. Go for the note. The capillary rise can be obtained at a few more places along the tube by changing the amount of tube is immersed. Right? No, sorry. This one, right? Note, when the radius of the bubble in the liquid increases, reduces the rate of flow of water drops from the funnel by adjusting the tap. Observe the instance of the maximum difference of levels several times, right, from the manometer when the bubble gets released, and obtain the reading H1 and H2 at the best chosen instance, okay, by heating the liquid in the beaker and taking readings at several temperatures while maintaining each temperature constant. Make sure the temperature is constant. The value of surface tension can be found in different temperatures, and you can, the variation of the surface tension temperature can be studied. Now, if you get the surface tension in different temperatures, you can draw a graph and study the surface tension with temperature, how it differs, right? Now, here see the last year question. This is 2019 structured essay. Now we did this experiment. Actually, we are doing this experiment in our laboratories also. So it is here. You can answer this question now very easily, right? Now see the apparatus. This is the second method according to this, right? An experiment well set up in a school laboratory to define the surface tension of a liquid is shown in the figure, right? Now the first question, see, figure 2 shows the shows the view of the vertical cross section of the capillary tube along the axis. Draw the meniscus of the liquid inside the capillary tube and indicate the surface tension T and the contact angle theta between the liquid and the glass surface of the capillary tube in this figure, right? Now this is the capillary tube, right? These are the walls. So you just draw the meniscus like this and the tangent and T, right? And theta, that's all. Okay? Right. Now next question. Clearly writing the assumptions made. So this question, right? If the height of the liquid column in the capillary tube, the inner radius of the capillary tube and the density of the liquid H1, R1 and rho 1 respectively, obtain an expression for the H rho G terms of T, R and theta. We did it earlier, right? So no need to show it again. So you can derive this equation, right? Okay. Then using that equation, clearly writing the assumptions made, show that the assumption explained obtained in the 2 can be reduced to H2T R rho G. There's a cos theta here, right? Can you remember? Now here we assume that the theta is 0, cos 0 is 1. So that is the assumption, and H equals 2T R rho G, right? Now this question. In order to satisfy this assumption, right? Remember, you mentioned in 3 above, for the given liquid, write down the experimental procedure that should be followed in the correct order, right? So that is, you should clean the capillary tube first with a base, then with the acid, and then from the water and write, and then only you can do the practical, right? Now, this is the next part of it. Before taking the readings, required to determine the height edge, what is the adjustment to be made in the experimental setup shown in the figure? Here, this this hook should touch the surface, otherwise the reading will be not correct, right? Incorrect, right? See, to take edge, before taking the reading, you have to see whether this hook touches the surface of the liquid, right? And then see this graph, and they are asking, considering the equation in A3 above, identify and write down the independent variable and the dependent variable of the graph. Right now here, this is the equation. Which is here, h equals 2t r rho g, right? This is the equation. Now you can differ this h and r, right, according to that question. So he is telling that, right? Look here. Now, considering the equation in A above, right? The following graph shows the experimental data using the capillary tube with different radii, right? Now, which one we are differing? The radius of the capillary tube. So that if we are varying this only, the x-axis only we can differ. So that 1 over r should be x and y should be h, right? This is the independent variable and this is the dependent variable. So here 1 over r and here h, right? Now determine the surface tension of water using the graph and state the answer with SI unit. Now from this, the gradient of the graph, right? What is the gradient of the graph? Right? The gradient of the graph is 2t over rho g, right? 2t over rho g. So find the gradient of the graph equating to 2t over rho g and find the surface tension of this liquid, right? Water. Okay. Then last question. What would happen to the capillary rise if soap water is used instead of water? Briefly explain in answer. If you use soap water, right, the tension will be less and the rise will be less. Okay. If you mention that too, you will get the full marks. Okay, students. I think now you can do this at home, right? This is 2010 essay paper. This one is 2011 essay paper, right? So you better answer these questions also. This is in your past paper books. And I think it's clear now what is surface tension and how to do these problems. Thank you.